Okay, we're on. Greetings, everyone. We are here for our ninth session of the Teaching English to Young Learners online course. Today, we're going to talk about the clue approach and how it fits into our lessons. For you who are not very much familiar with the clue approach, this approach was first used by Du Coyle and her colleagues who researched about the teaching of the English language integrated with other subjects, with other contents, right? So not only teaching the language, but teaching through language. And then learners would be exposed to different contents, different topics, different information from a variety of subject areas through the teaching of the language, right? At first, the subjects that were first taught were related to science, technology, mathematics, but then arts was also integrated. And then we have this acronym STEM, right? Science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. So when we teach using this approach, some premises underlie the teaching and the learning processes. Some of them is the fact that students must be learning something that is not only about the language, as I said before. So if you are teaching science, so you will be teaching concepts, words, terms related to a specific knowledge inside science or biology. And then you have this integrated curriculum. Ideally, it should match the Ligi has just arrived. Hey, Ligi, welcome.
Good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning, dear. Great. How are you?
I'm good too.
Okay, Ligi. Today we're talking about the clue approach, Ligi. Are you familiar with this term, the approach?
Uh, yeah, I am her, but I can't. I have to be honest that I don't remember the letters. What do they mean exactly?
Yes, Ligi. Okay, so I'll go on. Okay,
All right.
and you catch up and you interrupt me if you have any questions. Is that
Mm-hmm.
all right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then. So CLIO stands for Content and Language Integrated Learning. And
Hi.
then we will integrate the learning of the language with the learning of other subjects, other school subjects.
Can you
And I,
please?
sorry,
Can you repeat what it stands for, please?
content and language integrated learning.
And language integrated learning. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay, and then I was saying that the content that we will be teaching in the English language classroom should meet, like make a match with what kids are learning at school, because then it would be easier for them to understand more complex concepts and uh, like internalize better these concepts. And also make meaning from the language and the content both at the same time, right? Also, this approach has been considered very effective in terms of helping students achieve fluency, because students are immersed in this environment where, um, just like we do in our classrooms, there's no big differences in terms of language, English language use, but in the CLIO classroom, English is used in several different ways. English is taught through the subjects, and there is the learning for there is the language for learning. What does it mean? They learn some language so that they can interact with their peers inside the classroom. So, not specifically to learn the language, but to learn the content, right? We would call it in our classes the classroom language. What classroom language means for us. Like, how do you spell? How can I say? Can you lend me? Can you repeat, please? But it's a little broader in this case, and more specific in terms of technical terms related to the lesson being taught. Um, CLIO is also considered to be an approach that prepares students for this multicultural world that we live in today, because the level of fluency and the way they are able to communicate in a more natural way, in a more authentic way in the classroom, they will be better prepared for this reality that they will face outside of the classroom. They also improve their competence in other skills, life skills, because they collaborate more, they work more in groups, they have to also work with projects like PBL, project-based learning, where they have to solve problems and use more their critical thinking skills. And it promotes learner motivation, right? So these learners that are exposed to CLIO are proved to be more motivated in the language learning process, right? Um, okay. And here, while teaching with this CLIO approach, thinking from the teacher's perspective, the teaching, we analyzed the learning. Now, from the teaching perspective, it is a challenge for us because we would be teaching other content and other subjects that we may not know much about. And then it requires some research and some reading. But I can tell from my own experience that this approach has proved to be more motivating for me too, right? I like it a lot when I talk about animals and nature and biology and mostly sciences that I have approached. I don't go into technology or maths in my classes. And for me, it's kind of easy in a way because the course books that I work with, which are National Geographic Learning's course books, they bring these topics to light. So students are invited to think about where they live and how their living impacts the world, and how people live differently in different parts of the world. um, lots of things related to environment and technology too. So it was a good match for me to be working with National Geographic and learn more about the Clio approach. So then I can explore more. And something that has changed a lot for me using the Clio approach is that um, when we incorporate this internalization aspect of Clio, you start looking at um, like these are traditional topics that we explore, like food, clothes, celebrations. You start looking at them from a wider perspective, like not only from one but from several different ones. So now when I talk about clothes with my students, we would not only learn the names of the clothes or the appropriateness according to the weather and the climate, but also how different people dress around the world, the different materials that are used to produce the clothes. Um, what else? Why people dress that way. I loved this lesson because we could learn that there are different influences over the way people dress up. Not only religion, but also the climate, but also um, the traditions, their cultural traditions. And I think that this makes a huge difference for the kids when they start thinking that, wow, there are reasons for things to be the way they are, and they are not just random things, right? Also about food. So when I talk about food with them now, I also talk about different food traditions, food around the world, different dishes that they have never heard before, and nutrition facts, and the fact that we have carbohydrates and proteins and fibers in our food, and how much we should have of each in our daily diet. So it leads the students to reflect about the world around them, not only like putting words inside their heads or putting language knowledge inside them, but being able to think about how and why things are the way they are, and yeah, promoting opportunities, having them think critically. And I had this situation with an adult student the past week, yeah, and the lesson was about living healthily. And the lesson led us to reflect on our daily habits, our routine, eating habits, and etc. Things this way. And then he he was so engaged into thinking and reflecting and critically analyzing his routine. And by the end of the lesson, when we turned off our computers because we were online, he texted me, "Teacher, what an amazing class we had. I loved our discussion. It was so meaningful for me. Thank you for that. I hope we can have this often. It's always good to be in our class, to be online with you." I said, "Oh my God, this makes a huge difference, right? Because um, it should not be about the language, right? It should be about something greater than that." Um, And when I first started studying about CLIL back in the early 2020s, so almost 5 years ago, it made like it was so meaningful, and it made lots of sense for me because when we talk about kids and teens, we say, oh, they need this kind of class or this type of approach. But I think that all of them, no matter what age, we people, we are different now. We think differently. We are exposed to lots of information with little usefulness. Most of the information that we get are useless. So I think that learning should be about being able to add more to the students' lives, like not only um, teaching English, but helping them leave the classroom better people, better citizens, better students. Um, and I usually say that I don't sell English courses. I sell learning experience where students can leave my classroom with a beautiful gift box with a big ball, like a red lace on top of it. Um, and they can learn skills and competencies that will be useful for them in their academic life, in their work life. So I think this is what we have to bear in mind. And then we when we think about CLIL, we face this other paradigm, which is how much book work we should have in our classes during class time. And Clio invites us to interact, to play, to build, to um, move around and do other things rather than um, writing only or solving exercises. Um, Clio has this broad facet that is still being explored. Um, and I forgot the name of the guy. Cleo. Dave Cleo. David Marsh. David. I remember David. David Marsh was the one who created Clio back in 1994. And Du Coyle joined him in the researches that he was doing. And so this is still an approach that's being implemented. In our case, I think that what we would call bilingual education would be more related to this approach, right? This is not what we have in schools, right? That call themselves bilingual, right? Regular schools, I mean. But the real bilingual is the one that incorporates other learning opportunities beyond the language. Um, okay, moving on. I will share now my course book so that we can discuss the practicalities of Clio when teaching a lesson. Okay, I'll share my screen. I have been working with National Geographic Learning for kids for almost 15 years now. I have used This Is Our World, and I have used also Look. They have different approaches to grammar mainly, but they are both content integrated, and they have this invitation for exploration and projects and all this stuff. And then in this lesson here, the kids are presented with a lot of terms about nature and animals. And here you have the song. And then um, I connected this enjoy nature and the topic of a project from the lookbook, where we went on an insect safari, and it was amazing. I opened up the book this one day and I said, oh my God, what am I going to do in my next class with these kids? I don't want to teach vocabulary again and do that same thing. How can I do something different? And then I was flipping through the unit and I saw that insect safari. I said, wow, now I know what to do. I went online. I found some worksheets about insects and the parts of their bodies, the names of the parts of the body. And then I would get different insects like butterfly. I won't remember them all. Firefly, ladybug. Yeah, that was it. And then we studied the parts of their bodies, the names. We completed this worksheet. We went outside to see if we could find some insects, and we did. We found them, a few. And we went to our atelier, arts atelier, where the kids could build their insects. And I have one here to show you. This is Sophia's caterpillar, and we had real insects, and we had um, created insects. There was an alien insect, and all of them got names. They were baptized. They were named, and finally we wrote about them. So they had to describe to their friends, oh, this is Miss Caterpillar X, and she has two antennas, I don't know how many legs, and an abdomen, and this and that. And then we wrote about the insects. So it was a very successful project in terms of all the criteria that a successful lesson must meet in terms of student engagement, being meaningful, real world, content integrated, um, productive, because they could speak, they could write, they learned lots of words. And kids love bugs, right? They hate and love. It's a relationship, like they hate and love at the same time, because sometimes they are very, very afraid, but they are also intrigued by these little things. I must confess that I share the same feeling. I am intrigued, but I fear them. Um, I even thought that I should buy those boxes with lots of insects inside. They are named, the brand is Discovery. It's a partnership between this toy brand and a TV channel. I don't remember now, but I thought I should buy them so that we could be more intimate with the fake ones, and make our minds concerning this close relationship that we have with the bugs in our lives. And then when we talk about CLIL, we are invited to review all our procedures in terms of language learning, because we're invited to teach not only speaking but communication skills in terms of making speaking more efficient and effective. Like you not only it's not enough for you to know words and structures and know how to organize a sentence and just say it out loud. You have to have a clear tone of voice, an inviting tone of voice, look people in the eyes, have a body posture. Uh, and CLIL is about making language learning more, how can I say this, um, not meaningful, but more whole, like integrating other parts, other small pieces that will make it really effective. Also, when we work with well, all the content, creativity in CLIL plays an important role. And then we have other aspects related to, let me open here so that I can mention all of them to you. Um, the lesson preparation is broader. It starts with a mind map where you have like a huge spider of concepts and related fields that can be explored together with the core content that you're teaching. Um, and I think that it helps us see the many possibilities that we have in CLIO that otherwise we wouldn't. When we teach like a regular lesson, we usually do not see these many possibilities that are created in the teaching of the language. Okay, let me share another screen here for you. For you to see how these ideas are organized. Just a minute, it's frozen, it's frozen. Oh, this one, yeah. Okay, so just for you to see the starting point of a clear lesson. So this example here would be the water cycle. So in our regular lessons, the lesson or our teaching revolves around a specific language that we want to teach. In this case, it revolves around a specific knowledge, a specific content that you want to teach. And language comes all together with the whole thing. It's a subsidiary learning and not the main learning, the language. something that I like very much about CLIL is the fact that learners' errors are considered in a completely different way. They are rarely corrected because it is believed, and it is a fact, that as much as students are in contact with the language and the more they're exposed to it, these flaws are adjusted naturally, and students become more aware of the language and self-aware of their own mistakes, and they are able to achieve these language goals on their own without much interference from a teacher, right? And since I started studying about errors and error correction, I changed a lot my approach to this. I stopped correcting my learners like 90%, and I focus on what it is really a problem, and in that really interferes with comprehension, but I let them produce freely, and I welcome every insight, even if there are some slips of the tongue, you know. So going back to this word web, you see, the lesson is divided into different segments. So you have the content that will be taught, the cognition aspects of the lesson, the cultural aspects, and the language of learning. So the language that will be needed for them to learn about water cycle. So here, there is all the vocabulary that they will need. See, prepositions of place, water cycle, furniture. So this is the first step when you map all the aspects of the lesson and what must be covered in a way that you can fully explore the topic of the lesson or the content that was chosen for this lesson. Okay. Let me open another one. And then we have also this specific test for teachers, the TKT CLIL, where teachers are invited to go into specific aspects of the CLIL approach, and not only be certified, but deepen their understanding of the approach. Okay, let me open another. Okay, just for us to understand, these are different languages that will be taught in the in the CLIL classroom. The language of learning, it was the one that we saw in the mind map, is the language that learners need, and the definition is to access the basic concepts or skills of the topic. So it's the language that they will need to perform, to engage with the lesson. There is the lesson for learning, and then it is the language that is compatible with the subject. And then they exemplify here language that they will need to present evidences about what they are researching or what they are reading or studying. writing a research report, and then they will need specific terms, language for project work, language for arguments, disagreements, negotiating, opinions. So this is the language for learning. And the language through learning, it is the new language that cannot be predicted. It's the emergent language. It emerges in the class during the lesson. Um, like they arise from curiosity, from expansion of the topic. So students go further, and then they come across this term that they don't know. And then we can predict some, but not all, because they are on the spot. And we can research on the spot, right, in the classroom, by using online dictionaries or thesaurus, and Google sometimes work, but we have to be to set a criteria and be very precise in our search, like Google the English word and Google back the English word in the dictionary for the definition to see if they match. And also invite students to research on their own, so that we can develop their autonomy, and so also as a means of teaching them how they can go for new words whenever they need them, right? Because um, they will be faced with situations where they need a word and they don't have it, and they must know how to research and how to find them online, right? Okay. Liji, would you like to share your impressions about the Clio approach?
Um, so, actually, as you were talking about it, I could remember some books that I've worked with, like Bright Ideas. I don't know if you know them from Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
They always have a reading about a different part of the world related to the content. For example, school life in Thailand, how it is, and now and and now in I'm using Global Changer from
Uh,
from Cambridge, and there's also not just a reading, but there's a video about how these people live, or in the related to the content and vocabulary we're studying. So the students are really impressed. For example, I'm on unit 6 with some groups, and it's about school life, and they were impressed about that some students need to go to school by boat, because the school is really far away, and they live in a place that is surrounded by water. Uh,
mm-hmm.
so it was really nice to not just teach the vocabulary, but show them the the world, how it is, you know. So it was really
Exactly. Yeah, and it's an opportunity to show them the map and where these people really lives, right? The
nice.
location
I
and
have
and
we have a globe here, but
uh
now you gave me the idea. I'm gonna use the globe next to class to show them where it is in the globe. Very nice.
yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah, Lady. I love it. I usually say that I lack geographical knowledge.
Mhm.
School did not teach me much, and then when I have to when I'm preparing my lessons, I take this opportunity to learn more about
Uh,
geography myself.
some things that I usually do is to look it up the country on Google and then show them pictures of the country and some characteristics, and they like it because, as you said, at school we don't usually have these opportunities.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah.
and as you said, it's an opportunity for me to get to know new countries.
Yeah, we learn a lot.
Uh,
Videos on YouTube, right? Sometimes there are
uh,
wonderful videos. So students feel as if they really were there.
yeah, it's really nice. Uh-huh.
Okay. All right, Lady. Lady, we're wrapping up. I'll
Mhm.
be sending the video in our group.
All
Thank you
right.
very much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for all the contribution.
Thank you, dear. Have a wonderful weekend.
For you too. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Thank you for watching. Bye.
You.